to 7 million copies worldwide and in the States. That's how long she's been, the accumulation. That's talking about album sales now, ladies and gentlemen. We're not talking about singles.
That's crazy.
And the thing is, a big seller.
Was she really big over here though? I felt like she wasn't as big over here.
Well,
no. She wasn't like in the top 5 over here. She was respected, but you never seen her. There was no great demand for Shirley Caesar to come over here. Would you say that's correct?
That is sort of highly. It's probably who managed her and so forth, because it's really sad that she did not really tour Europe how she should.
Affinity Extra, be extra.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Extra.
Yeah. People, this is your boy here, Roger Moore, and Affinity Extra, celebrating gospel music of black origin. This is that we do it. The reason why I talk so fast is because I have to say this so often that we celebrate gospel music of black origin, and I don't really care what people think. But anyway, so we do celebrate it, and we're here looking into the history of gospel music, black gospel music, just emphasizing the blackness, with Kevin Tomlin, who is a black music historian. So, and anyone who's offended me saying black a bit too often, we're just stating the obvious, because the obvious gets always taken out of history, like many things. But we don't really want to go back into how many times the blackness has been taken out and the pigmentation has been taken out of a lot of things in history. But Russia kind of exposed about the Jesus pictures looking a bit more darker. But anyway, let's not go. So we noticed the blackness gets taken out of quite a few things in history if you allow people to anyway. Still, yeah. So that's why we still have to identify the colour of the source. Yeah. Even though it's a multicultural delivery, we've celebrated the multicultural input into our music, and you're going to hear that more even today. And today we're going through a number of vinyls, which I will be trying to digitize to make sure we have it playing in the station in the background, because we need to know our history, hear our history, celebrate our history. So part of this has been now we're going to go through these vinyls and actually read through them and understand the significance of artists that I'm going to get to know more about right now. The last show we did, check out on our YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. We looked at the West Coast, a lot of West Coast vinyls. Absolutely. And I realized how much West Coast affected my life, which is, in terms of the Hawkins and Andre Crouches. We was reading the titles and we were singing along to them because of how much they affect. I heard them as a child going to concerts. Now we are looking at more areas in the US that has influences the East Coast and the Southern states. And it's not to say they had a lesser influence. It's just that, where you got a star, and I would have to say absolute star, which Andre Crouch is, yeah, when it comes to gospel music, and also the Hawkins, what they are, what it is what it is, yeah. So you just got to understand, guys, that we've got some amazing people from other areas of America which had a great input into the system. So we're going to get into this now. Kevin, you kick us off where you want to start, want to take us from, yeah?
Right. I want to concentrate on the Mighty Clouds of Joy. They actually came into existence. This group came into existence in 1959 in Los Angeles. Most of the original, I think one of the last original to die was Joe. Unfortunately, yes, he was 80. So many of the original members of the Mighty Clouds of Joy has died over the decades. But they're probably one of the most internationally known quartets from America, because I saw them live in London, actually, in Islington. Yes, I saw them live during my single days before I got married. And
Okay, a few years ago.
Yeah, and they were supported. The supporting acts was Latter Rain. Latter Rain was the group that many of the members come out of to establish the London Community Choir. My wife was part of the Latin Rain, during those days.
Oh, no, you can't just drop. Okay, wait, guys, wait. Kevin's just dropped a UK absolute, not even a clanger, an absolute pearl right in front of us. So 1 second.
Yes.
The latter what? Say latter.
Latter Rain. This is to do with Mum Paris. The legend of Mum Paris, who used to be in Church of God, and she used to do crusade with Reverend Kennedy. I mean, if you saw those crusades, they were. And
that was almost one of the. So you had a group of young people came out of that.
Yeah,
to really support LCGC.
Yes, that's right. And my wife, and of course the Johnsons, which to do with Lawrence Johnson and so forth, was part of the original, because Lawrence Johnson was the conductor of the choir, founding choir master of that group.
Of RCGC?
Yes, and my wife used to sing while Lawrence Johnson, when he was young, was conducting the choir. She remembered him when he was very young, in his teens.
So he was conducting this choir, latter?
Yes, because that's where he developed his craft as a vocal arranger and so on, way back.
Wow!
Oh, I can tell you some stories.
And they were at the same performance as what Mighty Cloud.
Oh yes, they were supporting them. Yes.
Okay.
I was there.
Yeah. Okay.
I was there.
All right. So Mighty Cloud guys, I see them as a traditional. Quartet, you know what I'm saying? Quartet, a bunch of guys. I've really grown up. I didn't really listen to these guys, you know what I mean? I know there's like I think I saw a clip of them. It's more that old kind of bluesy kind of gospel feel. Jesus, like a traditional deep south gospel sound, which I wasn't really more into. I was probably more into the commercial sound of Andre and Hawkins and so on like that. I never really hit there, but did they have any dance hits as well?
Well, this is a surprise one. This is a surprising one. This was a prelude album to it. Matter of fact, the guy who produced the album was Dave Crawford. He was once a label owner with a record company called LA Records in the West Coast, long time ago. And the gentleman who did the arrangement for the album and this one is called Wade Marcus. Wade Marcus was a staff member briefly at Motown, but he excelled when he actually freelanced and worked elsewhere and worked with also with James and Toomey and Reggie Lucas, and his hits, mighty hits that came out on the East Coast, from Stephanie Mills and so on. He was classically trained specialist, and you had J. Mark, who is a white brother who operated out of Sigma Studio, which the Teddy Prendergast and the OJs all record. So there's a lot of interplay going on in the East Coast. But listen to this: the string section was done on this album particularly. Before we talk about the other hit album, this album, the string section was by the members of the Memphis Symphony Orchestra. Okay. So at the same time, they were using guys from Memphis, and while they're working in at Signal Sound Studio in Philly, and yet this is what interesting. They're working with two different session men. From two distinct cities. So you have the southern from Memphis. You have the Memphis Horn section. Which Memphis Horn section comprises of the original Memphis Horn section comprises of a white brother and a black brother. The original. They worked together until they passed away. So you talk about racial. That's one. They are one of the best horn section from the southern states. Memphis horns. Ask anybody who's a serious disciple of music, soul music. When you talk about Memphis horn section, who worked with Otis Redding and Al Green and so forth. Anyhow.
But it's interesting because I'm looking at some of the information about Mighty Clouds of Joy.
Yes.
They're saying that it was formed in 1959.
That's correct, yes.
In LA. So
Yes.
they were based traditionally on the West Coast.
But they worked in different studios.
So again, it shows you the globalness, and you don't have to be born in the West Coast
to actually work there alone.
Yeah.
They're one of the most successful gospel quartets in terms of international exposure, because they work. The interesting thing about the Mighty Clouds of Joy, they work with the best in the industry. Full stop.
Yeah.
Both sides of the American continent and the East Coast. Look at this. On the East Coast, right? They're working with the Memphis horn section and the Memphis strings, and then at the same time, they're working with some of the top session men in Philadelphia, who were former members of MFSB. Remember the MFSB? Remember the MFSB orchestra that we were looked at the other day? Sound of Philadelphia. So these guys work with those members. Now listen to this. Ronnie Baker on bass, Earl Young on drums.
Okay.
It's just, it gets, and then you got the original Philly specialist, or the session men, is Norman Harris, the late Norman Harris, the late Bobby Eli. Bobby Eli is a Jewish brother. Norman Harris, yes. And all these people formerly from the West Coast, no, the East Coast rather.
Yeah.
And then you got the percussionist, one of the top percussionists on the East Coast.
But these,
the late Larry Washington, Congos. So these are the top end studio men that in Philly, and we're talking about the ones in Memphis. So he's working between these two cities under the direction of Dave Crawford. Yes?
Okay, yeah.
And Crawford was the same guy who produced one of the first major hit, million seller for Candy Staten.
Yeah.
Young Love Run Free. Remember that? Young Love Run Free, that smash hit, that disco hit. He was responsible for that. It was brewing. So by the time, and this is the interesting thing, when they did the Kicking album, which I don't have, the Kicking album, from the same label.
From ABC in it. Yeah. I'm looking right in front of me.
The Kicking album produced the disco number one hit. Mighty is called Mighty High. Mighty High was number one week ending the 17th of January 1976. It was there for 5 weeks at number one.
Okay.
It was a month. It was a disco hit, actually.
And that's the thing is with that period there, it was almost they really right up I would say to the 90s. Gospel vocals were the ones to go for that dance disco going into dance. You know, you got US Garage. You can see they always wanted white producers like this. Listen, I want that gospel voice. I want that gospel.
Ashford and Simpson, the same thing. You know, the whole party, yes.
But I must have said, with the Mighty Clouds of Joy, I just want to emphasize their impact. Guys, I'm looking at their albums. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 albums.
By the way, they started around the same time that Motown was founded in 1959.
This is what I'm saying.
So they actually gone through all the changes with Motown and everything, and these guys were at the top. They're probably one of the most toured, one of the most successful American black quartets that come out of America, the Mighty Clouds of Joy.
I noticed a lot of the older guys, when I talk to them about what's their influences, a lot of them do say Mighty Clouds of Joy. People my age, I don't really hear that.
When you talk about Mighty Clouds of Joy, you're talking about their vocal style and delivery. Not only that, the musicians, the work in the bass line. I mean, the funk and the strings and the horns. They were up there at the same level as Temptations. They can compete. I mean, they're live. when you have them working behind, when you have an orchestra working behind them, it's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
look at this. Look at this. When they did the single that came out from Kickin', it was on the dance charts. This is rare. A gospel single, dance single on the dance Billboard dance charts for 14 weeks. And out of the 14 weeks, they went to number 1 for 5 weeks. I want you to think about this. And also, it crossed over to the hot soul charts, single charts, Billboard, and it peaked at number 22. This thing was rock. Actually, they were smoking so big that they were a supporting act at one time for the Rolling Stones. Jeez. I mean, you talk about power. These, yes.
That's
and
mad.
they use some of the same musicians, but the difference on Kickin', this time they use Atlanta Symphony Strings and Horns from Atlanta. You have some serious guys down that side. Some serious classically. Sure.
Crazy. No, that's crazy. It's actually quite crazy to see. I knew they were big, I knew they were big because everybody does tend to say who he influences Mighty Clouds of Joy.
Mighty Clouds of Joy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mighty Clouds of Joy's influence Canis, influence people like Trevor Prince, because that's what they were listening.
Okay.
Because those are the things that was coming out of the stage.
Yeah.
Those are the things that were kicking.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear the sound. When you listen to a collection of what the Mighty Clouds of Joy did, both side of the East Coast and West Coast. And if they went West Coast, they worked with the best session guys down there, Joe Samples and that.
Okay.
And then when they hit East Coast, they work with the best down there.
Okay, cool.
So it was.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen?
No, it makes sense to me, man. It sounds crazy, but it shows you that, the size of America back then, a gospel group to be able to do that movement shows you how they're successful with their records. To do over 25 records over a period of time, from 1964 was the first release, which is called Family Circle, right down to Rebirth in 2016.
Yeah, so quite phenomenal.
My goodness
you remember that track we heard? That's one of their last biggest one. That was featured on one of the platinum and gold. Wow.
Yeah.
Serious, Okay, another thing too, on the Kickin' album that was quite interesting. The gentleman who arranged the horns and the strings was a former member of the Motown studio band, Mike Terry, one of the top horn players. So this is how interesting it is. So the quartet was extracting members from the Funk Brothers and so on to work for them on the different albums when they on the East Coast. It's Look, this brother Mike Terry, you can hear his horn section in some of the classical Motown hits. And he did the arrangement. These and then sometime as well, they work with some members of the Funk Brothers as well. Ladies and gentlemen, look, this is the fascinating thing about America during that time. These artists had a pool of top-end arrangers and strings and masters.
They were getting involved, man.
Yeah, and that's how Kirk Franklin was able to really, his albums were top end. He was working, the best people who would work with Prince, would work with Quincy Jones. He's working with the same guys. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand? It was nothing to do with color. Can you imagine one of the Andrew Croucher's albums, the one we're talking about, Thinking of You? On that album, one of the members of Toto Band, if you understand the Toto Band, they were the guys who worked on Thriller. And you can hear the sound. It's just incredible. That's why Andrew Crouch's stuff was so interesting, because he was working with the best down that side. It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. You work with the best, you get the best result. Result. And these guys are not surrendering to substandards, mediocre. They're coming in to produce the best. The sound engineer as well. That's another, the sound engineers.
Yeah, that's great. But anyway, who's next? Who's next?
Okay, this is Brooklyn Skyways.
So this is
another legendary quartet.
I've never seen these guys. If you flip around,
the legend is Savoy Records.
Savoy Records.
Which,
okay.
and this Savoy Records, that's where the James Cleveland come out of the equation. The Brooklyn, yes, you can read it, brother, to tell you about it. You see the two people are key to it. Deborah Robinson, the bass, she's a bassist. Beautiful woman. And Willie Johnson Jr., drums. And they anchored that sound. They anchor it.
Okay.
Right? Through the pitfalls of life and many struggles of their past, the Brooklyn Skyways can really express the trying times they had in their career thus far. These are guys are going way back, right? And they were able to produce this album. When it comes to Savoy, the Savoy catalogue, which includes
Savoy Records.
Yeah, the Savoy is a legendary Jewish-owned, former Jewish-owned.
Okay.
I think it eventually was bought by Arista Records in the end. Producer John Daniels. Right, yeah.
Savoy Records. Yes, Savoy Records.
Savoy Records. Legendary Savoy Records. I think they were based in outside of New Jersey. I can't remember exactly.
New York,
yes.
No, New Jersey, yeah, New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, 1942. Specialized in jazz, rhythm and blues and gospel music.
That's correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
1940s.
This is where this is
what
where
year is
they
it?
operated.
1970, yeah.
1976. Savoy Records, Inc.
Yeah.
625
Pennsylvania Avenue, Elizabeth, NJ,
New Jersey.
Right there in front of us.
This is original albums. This is the original stuff. You can't get them again, you know, these.
Crazy.
So this is another quartet from the East Coast. But some of the quartets could actually produce, and on a good day, their albums can move between 100 to 200,000. That's a lot for a quartet. But the Mighty Clouds of Joy would move nearly 500,000. They were monster hitting. They were monster hitting.
Wow, that's crazy. I never heard of these Brooklyn Skyways, you know.
Yeah, Brooklyn Sky, yeah.
Crazy. What is man? Look fresh though.
Yeah, the old brothers and serious brethren.
Jeez, them man, adventurous man.
Look, this is the serious one. Reverend Isaac Douglas sings with the New York Community Choir.
Yeah, Isaac Douglas, I've heard of.
Yes. And Savoy, before they went to RCA, they were on Savoy as well. Recorded live Until You Come Again. Right, let's see who is on this. Let's see who's the musicians here. Musical staff. You notice that Benjamin Diggs.
Conductor.
Yes, because he's a serious A&R man. Yes, classically trained. Yes. And these are, you see all the Freddie Washington and all of them. These are some of the top session.
Piano session guys. Even bass, you got Ray Green. You've got guitar, Robert Williams, Talib on the horns.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So it was a four.
O'Neill,
yes. So this is when the New York Community Choir was actually begin to create a storm on the East Coast.
Okay.
Remember, they're from New York now.
What year is this now?
This is 1976 as well.
My goodness,
yes.
Man.
So this Savoy was just releasing, and
it shows you that there was you know, to press vinyl and obviously there was a market for the gospel.
Yes, there was. Yes, yeah. Oh
record.
yes, yeah. And this is just a tip of the iceberg.
Make sure everybody can see it.
Yes, let's see. This is just a tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. This is just one of many albums they did, New York Community Choir. But New York Community Choir made it onto the disco chart at number 5 with some of their stuff. They created dance hits, working with some of the top session men in New York.
Okay.
When I say top session, they were the best up there. and they created some hits with Biggs at the control.
Wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
We just went through East Coast like that, and this is just a tip of the East Coast
peeps.
Pips.
Yeah, people, man. People with all the people there still. So you got for us next, bro?
Okay,
So,
we got
you might have
these.
heard.
Yes, we have a few. This is quite interesting because what we got here, we got music that come out of Nashville and Memphis,
Nashville, Tennessee.
Tennessee, and their signature sound, the gospel signature sounds.
This person is she known as the Queen?
Yes, the Queen.
Queen of Gospel.
Jesus, I love to call your name.
Okay.
And feature a classic gospel hit, No Charge. My beautiful and darling Shirley Caesar, ladies and gentlemen. Live and in living color, as Americans say. Live and in living. Shirley Caesar, 1983 on Myrrh.
1983 on Myrrh. She was born 1938. So
Yes.
sure, by that time, man, she, you know what I mean, she might not have been chicken, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she's been around. She was a long
time,
caravan.
you know what I mean? You know.
She's been touring across the gospel circuits. Yes,
yes. She's the 10th of 13 children.
That's correct.
Back them days, man, it's like you don't have them connections to your siblings because you got so many of them, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But she learned her performance skills with the caravans, with
That's
Albertina
correct.
Walker.
Yes, that's right.
With basically Albertina Walker at the front, and 1958 when she was approached, her professional music career started when she was 1958 when she was 19 years old.
That's correct.
When she approached Albertina Walker about joining the Caravans, one of the most popular gospel groups at that time. So she joined up with them guys because she got the performance up. Trust me, you would have to pass a test to get into that into that group. She was there with that group there, and then did the hits and so on, and then and by the let me just have a look at when was her first album. Let's look at her discography. There's a look. Okay, there you are. So by the 70s now, she started to do her own thing, and it's like, but I think it's 70s. It's got First Lady.
Yeah.
First Lady. 70. It's amazing. They got 70. It got to number 36 in the US.
Yeah.
R&B.
Yes. She crossed
Charts.
over. Yeah, she crossed over.
Wow.
That's probably the one that features No Charge. I'm not sure, but No Charge was the actual classic. That's who she's known for. That's one of her signature songs, actually.
So what's this album called here that you got in here?
This album is called
Jesus.
I love to call.
I was born 1983. That's 1983. Yeah. So it seems like there's a lot of things. I was born in the mid 70s, 76. Yeah, it seems to be a lot of releases that we brought out today that seems to have really blossomed in the 70s. That period there.
Yeah. The 70s was beginning to be what was said the groundwork for what the Kirk Franklins come out of eventually, because remember at that time Vicky Latte was actually developing her craft during the 70s under the auspice of top executives at RCA Record. And let's look at the session people on this.
Yeah,
some of the session people on it are legends on the East Coast, like Reggie Young, who worked with Elvis Presley and all those brothers, and many of the legendary studio musicians from that region. So you have there's very serious top end musicians on it, and the strings. Listen to this: the strings by the A strings, horns by the Nashville Horn Works. I'll say these are basically top-end musicians she's working with in Nashville and Tennessee. Well, Nashville, Tennessee, she's actually recorded and mixed at Woodland Studio, Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow.
And Tony Brown is the producer, and the executive producer is Ken Ardin. And also, this is interesting that many of these horn players worked with some of the future gospel legends. So she was, and many of these horn section and musicians worked with Al Green when he did his series of albums.
Gospel albums.
Gospel. He did about 18 actually. It's a crazy amount. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at Shirley. She's got a few releases herself out, man.
Yeah.
She's released out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Wow. Over 30
according to
oh my
listen
goodness.
to this. According to RIAA, the institution or the not-for-profit trading body, which keeps a watchful and legislate or challenge or at the federal level, Supreme Court level, and making sure that gospel musicians are represented and so on and so forth. They said that Shirley Caesar has sold about between 5 to 7 million copies worldwide and in the States. That's how long she been, the accumulation. That's talking about album sales now, ladies and gentlemen. We're not talking about singles.
That's crazy.
And the she's a big seller.
Was she really big over here though? I felt like she wasn't as big over here.
Well,
No. She wasn't like in the top 5 over here. She was respected, but you never seen her. There was no great demand for Shirley Caesar to come over here. Would you say that's correct?
That is sort of highly. It's probably who managed her and so forth, because it's really sad that she did not really tour Europe how she should, because she's the sort of godmother, princess of gospel as well as the queen.
Yeah.
She has not.
She's known.
She has not compromised.
Let's go. The Queen of Gospel is it Albertina Walker?
Well,
the mom,
and then she surrendered to it, because the whole part of it, you could say that it's just that Shirley is more successful than
obviously Albertina Walker.
Yes, it's more technical, I mean, but if you're talking about the pioneers and trailblazers, of course you have to, because these singers were vitally important in training up Candice Statons and all of them. Because Candice Stanton came from gospel before she went to fame in the Muscle Show to record.
Okay.
So, and she knew all the up and coming artists at the time. There's Sam Cooke. She remembers Sam Cooke and so forth before he went soul. And Shirley Caesar would have known them because they all connect with each other when they went on tours, gospel tours across the United States.
Crazy.
That's quite a big business it was. Network of churches that cater to the artists. When they come into town, they had the venues. So when they're doing their tour, they come into these specific different venues to perform.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, then. That's Shirley. We salute you. We've got the elegant vinyl right there, ready for you, man. Okay, there's the face I don't know here.
Yes, and Paul Peasley, who is a former member of the Mighty Clouds of Joy. And he did a solo album. Which was produced in Nashville as well, Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, Nashville.
So, and he had the same sort of a sound as Shirley Caesar. Some of the same musicians,
because it looks like he was in Mighty Clouds of Joy, but he had the afro then, what I mean. But now he's got some bit of that perm in his head.
Yes. And so you have several top session men who worked on his album, and the strings was done by was it Chris? Wilkinson strings.
Man, they use the wrong colours there, man.
Yeah, because I'm struggling to
actually see. So strings arrangements by John Darnell. You got the photos and stuff. So you are working with business. Obviously, Mer Records, 1984. Yes. Word was distributionist around the UK.
Yes.
And it was distributed not only in the UK. It was distributed. Word distributed through Finn Gospel.
Yes.
In Finland,
yes,
they distributed through GMI Records in Holland. I believe that's in Holland. Let me see. Look in Holland,
yeah, that's correct.
KIR Gospel Music Switzerland, Master Music Norway, Pilar Music West Germany,
yes,
Prim with Sweden, Sephora Music France, Tia Version Denmark. Wow, all of them's places, bro. But yet UK gospel can't even tour into them countries effectively right now today. Yeah, in an effective run, we haven't even got a circuit in Europe.
Not the kind of circuit level that
every month our artists should be going around these countries.
Well, that's the thing. The problem is
rotated in an efficient way.
Yeah, and also working with the top end musicians to get the best quality sound. As I said, in regards to Nashville, they were actually recording at the same studio that the top country artists and so on will record at, getting the same sort of quality. These engineers were people who actually work with top country artists.
Yes,
they weren't just working with these guys alone. And you got Keith Thomas, who was the guy who did a lot of the wine and so on, top end platinum and multi-platinum and so forth.
Okay, cool.
So he's actually worked with top men and women who are famous for their other production activities.
Okay.
Yes,
right.
1984, Word Inc.
Okay, no face. Okay. I was about to say I don't know that face, but then I just looked at the name. I said, shame. Yeah, I do know the name 100%, but his face is not too familiar to me because I hear about him.
Yeah.
It's
it's our
the famous soul singer
who turned gospel.
Al Green.
Right.
Mer Records.
This is. You want to read it because this is quite interesting. This is one of his many gospel albums.
Cool. And I must admit, guys, I don't really listen to Al Green from a gospel perspective in terms of I've heard of him as an artist, but not because of his soul hits. I'm more known for that when he does his gospel stuff. But he's done a lot of gospel music out there. So this is produced by Paul Zaleski. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, that's not very southern black, but obviously you can tell these guys are on it. Executive producers Al Green, recorded and mixed by Al Green. Music is bringing his expertise from hits, doing it out there. It's been mastered by Hank Williams. Masters have been done in Nashville. Musicians at drums. You got Tim Dancy and Steve Potts, and bass. You got Ruben Farfak and Junior and Ray Griffins. Electric guitar, you got Al Green. Okay, Al Green can lick guitar as well. Jared Minus.
This brother,
you know what
this brother, what do you say his name?
Mayben Hodges.
Hodges was part of the I Rhythm section, which worked on all Al Green's 8 million selling singles during his heyday soul. So he's worked with he understands how Al Green operates his work.
Okay, cool.
So he's another top end.
Moses Dillard is on there. Al Green on acoustic doing his thing.
Yes.
Acoustic piano. Jesse Butler on Rhodes. Johnny Brown on Rhodes as well, and organs. That sound, that full sound. You got Rhodes. We got acoustic piano, you got Rhodes and organ. You gotta have the specialist for them. We got Jesse Butler, and then synthesizer on top of that by Jesse Butler, Jerry Peters and Paul Zaleski dropping it on the synths. Percussion, Al Green, he's showing his rhythm right there. You know what I mean? Holding on. You got Tim Dancy on that as well. Background vocals by Al Green and Bountiful, Blessings Choir, Candy Grant. Andrea Blackwood, and Jenny Grant, and string arrangements by Al Green and Fred Jordan. Yeah. So and he says, yeah, man, Al Green. Yeah, I mean, 1984. High Records.
High Records the I Records was the label that he did all his soul records on prior to going gospel.
And he used that, but obviously he got it. He did it underneath Mere Records.
That's correct.
Which at the time in '84 is a division of Word Incorporated. So Word, this is how big Word is, man. Yeah, and I think one of the major things is, and one thing that catched a lot of people out, people like Blockbuster and movies and different things like that. Still, yeah, the transition to digital arena never fare well. And I think that Word did not cope well.
Yeah,
with the transition.
Yeah, Word had to eventually sell to one of his competitors and absorbed into
because the independence of artists.
Independence is very difficult. The independence operation. I know that we have one independent gospel label left from 1976. You know.
Because people do it themselves, bro. That's the thing. Artists release the music independently.
Yeah.
And it's gone the other way. And I just feel like they just never changed to suit. Like a lot of Christian bookstores, they couldn't change with the times. That's why a lot of them are closed now, because they just sell books. And even them, they're struggling right now. We just never changed with the times very well with the digital arena.
Yeah.
I feel that there was business opportunities to diversify the business, but the thing is, they just didn't want to talk to people of the wider industry. We look at the industry from an artist-driven perspective. We got to stop looking at this and look at other creative ways. We talked about the creative industry input financially into the space, and if you work with creatives, you can find a creative way to finance.
That's what it means, creative.
You know what I'm saying? Be creative with that one. But listen, bro, look at the next vinyl for me, man. Yeah.
Okay, before we go on to the next vinyl, just to give you some of the
Al Green. Yeah, man, hit us.
The Lord Will Make a Way, 1980.
Okay.
That was his first gospel album, pure gospel. 1981, Higher Plane. 1982, Precious Lord. Produced in Nashville, and the first two I mentioned was recorded at American Music Studio, which where Elvis Presley did his return album, recorded his Suspicious Mind album at that legendary studio, and also Dusty Springfield did a legendary album at that particular studio. So it's a very landmark studio. It's no longer there, but in Memphis, it's iconic. That's true. And also, again, I'll Rise Again, recorded in Memphis. Trusting God, that was 1983. 1984, Trusting God, Memphis Al Green Music Studio. Oh, Al Green had his own music studio. Oh, interesting. And then we go back again to 1985. He Is the Light, Memphis at Royal Studio, where Al Green did his soul classics, and this Royal Studio is owned by the late Willie Mitchell. So it's still family-owned studio. There's a few family-owned studios still existing in America. Would you believe it? In different places, but most of them are usually on the East Coast. Or, in Tennessee.
Okay.
The Willie Mitchell studio still exists, owned by the Mitchell family. Okay. And his nephew, Bobo, is the chief engineer at that studio, keeping the uncle's tradition going.
Cool.
And also you got the Fame studio, where Aretha Franklin did her first million seller, owned by the All family. The original studio is still owned by the family.
Okay, that's what I like, man. Family business.
It's a white family, but these white and black families, they still hold it,
Yeah.
And people like, for instance, let's just give you an example. The studio where Al Green produced some of his stuff. Snoop Doggy Dogg come down here and do some stuff with all these different people. And also Alicia Keys went down there just to get the vibes of these different studios and also Fame. You know, to get the feel. She went down to Fame, and she worked with the late Rick Hall. He's white guy, but he's another recording legend. You remember that track Patches? He produced it for Clarence Carter.
Crazy.
But anyhow, this is all the gospel. And this particular album, this is quite fascinating because
go for it.
the Pilgrim Jubilee singers are
It's above
originally
my pay grade. Above my pay grade, guys.
Brethren. The group is originally from Chicago, 1952. Chicago. This is part of the Chicago heritage. Chicago. Well, if we get into Chicago and start talking about Chicago gospel.
Wow, and I think that there is a partnership, there is a strategic partnership between Birmingham and Chicago, I think.
Yes. But what is interesting about this album, although they're originally from Chicago, they record this album in Nashville, Tennessee, 1976.
Oh,
yes.
So, which is the Chicago artists? They produced
the Mighty Clouds of Joy.
Yeah.
Although they tour, they did some of their stuff outside of the original city. Cool. Look at this now. Listen to this. It was recorded at the Woodland Sound Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. This is a legendary studio. I don't know if it still exists, but these are legendary studios.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Right? So this is a legendary group that started in 1952. Another legendary quartet.
Yeah.
The Pilgrim Jubilee Singers.
Jeez.
Don't close in on me.
Yeah, man. Just want to have a quick look at that back.
Look at that. Yeah. And then look at
That's them there, boys.
That's them there. That is them there. Okay?
Cool. All right. Here's the one which...
Here is the precious one. I saw her live twice. So
okay.
This is she died of diabetic complications, but she was absolutely one of my favorite. She reminded me of Roberta Flack, a very lush, clean, well-trained vocalist who worked with Andrew Crouch and the Disciples. She was one of the original members. The legendary Danny Bell. Live in Sweden with
Karolina, what's that?
Yeah, it's Karolina. Yes, they're a famous Swedish gospel group.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, this is interesting, my dear brother. It was done live, and every one of the session men were Swedish top-end musicians. Some of them, I think, worked with ABBA.
Wow.
Yes, they did come in, cover the... And Brother Bill Maxwell was the producer. Yes.
Okay, right. Is it Danny Bell Armstrong?
Danny Bell. I don't know if
it's... What's his name?
Danny Bell Hall. Hall.
Oh, Shane, where I think it's Armstrong?
Danny Bell.
Okay, gospel singer. Yeah. From Pennsylvania.
That's correct.
She moved to California when she was 17 years old.
That's correct. Yes.
Where she met the Hall. Yeah, you're right. Your husband. You know what I mean? She had 3 children before him. 96. You know what I'm saying? And then she the group went on tour overseas. Yeah. She got Danny Bells. Yeah. Okay, so she was in the group. She starts off a little group.
Yeah.
Man, she touring with World Vision internationally.
Yes, that's right. World Vision, which Carol still works for, is a prestigious organisation.
Yeah. World Vision, that's crazy. And when she joined the Andre Crouch and the Disciples.
Yes.
My goodness sake, yeah.
Look, Andrew Crouch, producer, Bill Maxwell actually produced this album. That she did. So she's got three solo albums according to this before, which was on the Light Records, and then she's gone from Light Records to Sparrow.
To Sparrow. Yeah. So Sparrow is, so Light Records is West Coast. Sparrow is
Sparrow, I think
Nashville?
I think it's Nashville actually.
Yeah.
Because some of the big gospel labels were located in different places. This particular one is Sparrow. This is a Sparrow album.
Sparrow, yes.
Live, 1978, yes. After she did a few recording, she had some very outstanding, legendary studio albums. I don't have them with me at present, but
yeah, man. Bill Maxwell's involved in this
Yes,
as well.
it's a-
Yeah, man.
yeah.
These guys just get involved with everything, man, bro.
Oh, Brother Biggs, Bill Maxwell was very top end. He was an in-demand producer, arranger, and a drummer. He worked closely with Andrew Crouch, and he was Andrew Crouch's creative right-hand man, really.
This is a scary thing for me, guys. Yeah.
Yes.
1978.
Mm-hmm.
Gospel artists are going to Sweden
Yeah.
again. We're looking at Europe to record
Live album,
live
studio album,
albums,
whatever. Yeah.
So you've got countries that we would deem as no black people there. Yeah, so there's no point going into Europe growing up. Yeah, and we're scared. And I remember we did a interview with Wesley, one of the groups I grew up with, and they were saying that, you know, they got offered to go to Germany, but their parents are very scared about, you know, the racism out there and whatsoever. And it's interesting how these guys wanted this here. Obviously, things are a bit different. Obviously, you don't. There's not as many black people there, and they go through six stigmas.
Let me just correct something here.
Go on.
When you look at Boney M and Donna Summers, their big hits came out of Germany. They were working with some of the classically trained and composers from Germany, Munich, the Munich Symphony Orchestra.
So because of ignorance,
we don't know.
We ignorantly missed out,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
really effectively missed out of a market that is begging for. They're not really wanting this new vibe of gospel. They even want to like it. They appreciate.
Look, Germany,
and the thing is,
yeah.
the world. I really do think non-black people do appreciate the gospel sound, and I feel that we have to
we're scared, we're scared to actually do it.
Do it, and actually go out there. And I'm gospel and proud. Like I will sing.
This is what Charmin Elliott told me the other day when she went on tour to Romania. She said that they went on a tour in Romania and did live sessions, and the people were crying, they were excited. They said, "Where are you from? What are you doing here?" The people were stopping them on the street. They were doing gospel. It wasn't diluted. It was, and they perform it at the top and at the best. And each person of that group that Charmin is head of, they are respectable session people and artists in their own right. And the problem is that we have here, we need to remember that Germany is the 4th largest music market in the world. So it's not a small operative. It is not a small. Geez, I wish actually BMG International Headquarters is based in Germany.
Wow.
Which controls the Arista catalog and so forth. Which Whitney Houston came out of. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to understand how this thing operates globally.
Okay.
Look at things globally and understand who are the kingpins. Remember talking about power brokers. They're people who press the buttons. Yeah. Creative power brokers.
No, 100%.
Stop actually living in small boxes.
Cool.
God, I just...
Yeah, man.
Whatever.
No, we've got to learn, bro. We've got to learn, man. But listen up, people, man. Yeah, we've got in this series of podcasts we're gonna be recording now. We've got another one serious one coming up next. You know what I'm saying? Where we're looking at more details about about the business side of things. So watch your space. But we thought this is another show where we looked at some of the vinyls and talked the stories of great vinyl, great artists in the past by just looking at the vinyls and just finding the stats and the facts and the stories.
Just want to say this: some of the vinyls are landmark in their self actually, because they tell a story of a certain time in the gospel music industry, where these are what you call the pillar building blocks of what we have today. I remember many of these people, a lot of them have passed away. Oh, my dear darling Danny Bell All. She was such a classic. When you see her playing in performance, is total royalty. And she was passionate about her commitment as a Christian. These people don't play around about their faith. They would tell you that they're proud of being a Christian. And they didn't shortcut it neither. And remember, she's going into area Sweden, which is where ABBA and Ace for Bass come from. These top-end groups that cross over both in the UK and America. All right? So she's working with top-end session men and women from that country. Because Britney Spears and even Beyonce and so on has gone to Sweden to get hits. They got some serious session people and composers.
Wow. Anyhow. So we have some things going on. But listen, guys, you got the idea. Listen, this is Roger here alongside Kevin Tomlin. Nothing but love, people. Hopefully you enjoy. Please like, subscribe. Do follow us. Do make comments. Do say what you have to say to what we're doing here. We just want to emphasize this journey, this crazy journey that we're doing in terms of unearthing, digging out, doing archaeology or
musicology. It's music history. It's an analysis and historical analysis, and to show the level of pillars and platforms
that have been created
and the cultural diversification and how these artists use different session men from different places, from top-end session men to work with in different regions. Sweden, leaving America and going to Sweden to do a live album, it's quite interesting.
It's crazy. Crazy. But listen, guys, this is Roger and Affinity to celebrate the gospel music Black Origin. This is how we do it. I'm alongside Kevin Tomlin. Thank you for listening in. Like, subscribe, do what you have to do. Even comment. Blessings.
Hey, this is your bishop from Rock Solid. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing, and also sending these videos to other people as well. We are so hungry to get your support. So remember, check us out on our website, and also check us out on Insta, and wherever you want to find us on Spotify. You can play us all day as well. And just make sure that you are supporting this channel, that we are developing our agenda towards music of Black origin, and that is gospel music with a message. So please walk with us on this journey. Bye now.